Hi, in this video I'll show you how to simplify this complex number. The first step is to write I to the negative 3 as a positive exponent. To do that we need to bring it down to the denominator. So you'll have 1 over I to the third power plus 2I to the 19th. The second step is to have a common denominator. So you see here the denominator is 1. To have the common denominator of I to the third, I'm going to multiply by I to the third and divide by I to the third. So I will multiply the numerator by I to the third and divide by I to the third, as if I did nothing. Next, I will try to rewrite it in a more simple way. I will have a common denominator of I to the third, and in the numerator I'm going to have 1 plus 2I to the I to the 19 times I to the third is, when we have common bases, we're going to add the exponents together. So 19 plus 3 is 22. The next step is to find I to the 22nd. What does that equal to? I know that in order to simplify this, I would need to break it down into a multiple of 4 and a number that is not a multiple of 4. I can write it as 20. 22, I can write it as a multiple of 4, which is 20, plus 2. So I can rewrite this as I to the 20 plus 2, which basically is I to the 20 times I to the second power. Now I can rewrite 20 as 4 times 5. So this is going to be equal to I to the 4. I know what I to the 4 is, and then raised to the 5th power, because 5 times 4 is 20, times I to the second power. I know what I to the second power is. I know that I squared is equal to negative 1, and I know that I to the 4th is equal to 1. So I'm going to substitute that in my expression. I will have I to the 22nd is equal to 1 to the 5th power times negative 1, which is equal to 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. So I to the 22nd, or I to the 22nd, is equal to negative 1. I'm going to plug everything here. I know also that I to the third power is basically I to the second power times I, so the answer is negative I. I will substitute everything in my expression, so I will have equal to 1 plus 2 times negative 1 divided by negative I, which is going to be equal to 1 minus 2 is minus 1 over negative I. Now I don't want the negative I in the denominator, because that's not the simplest form. So this is division of complex numbers, and we know to remove that we need to multiply the denominator and the numerator by the conjugate of the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by the conjugate of negative I is I, and I will divide by I as well. Now if I multiply, this is going to be negative I times I is negative I, and then divided by negative I times I is equal to 1. So the final answer will be negative I. If you follow the same steps with the question, you're going to get it. I hope you understood how to do this question, and I will see you in a different video.